Okay guys, this is going to be a fun video if you think talking about switches is fun. Yeah, and I do. I'm going to start off with this switch right here. It is called a double pole double throw switch, which is interesting, and these kind of switches are used for reversing motors. And let me show you how they do that. Okay, let's get all the other switches out of the way. So this is a double pole double throw switch, or for short DPDT. And they have 6 pins right there, and the circuit symbol for them is like so. Yes. This kind of switch is used to reverse motors, and if you want to know how, it's like this. You have a motor over here, and you have a power source over here, and then you connect the power source to this side of the batteries, and then these are the switches. They're joined together, and you push one down, you push the other one down as well. So can connect that up to this side of the motor, and you can connect that up to this side of the motor. You also connect this to this side of the motor, and you connect this to this side of the motor. So it looks kind of complicated, but what happens is, so the electricity passes from the longer end down all the way through there, down past to the motor, comes out, and then goes back around to the end of the battery. And then when you push this down, these lines are connected up, so the electricity goes through down here, goes to here, goes through this side of the motor, and then comes back round and goes through this side to the end. So it either states they are it reverses the motor. There are other kinds of switches. There are push button switches, which just standard push button. The circuit symbol is push. Hang on, let me write push button. The circuit symbol is like so. So the push button, but this is a push to make switch. Yeah, push to make. I don't have any push to break switches, but what happens with this kind of switch, for example, let me show you on this breadboard right here. I'm just going to push the switch in the breadboard. There we go, and connect the electricity through here. Which one's positive? I believe that one is positive. Yes. Okay. And just to prove to you, or test this. Yeah. What I found out about this switch is actually, it's really interesting, is that it's not just a push to make switch, but it's also a push to break switch. So I've hooked up the battery to the switch in a way so that it will turn on every single time I push the button. Right, and that's just standard. The circuit diagram is just like so. And then yeah, we have the battery this way around. That just goes all the way to over there. It's like that. And if I rearrange the whole thing just like, just like so that it's in a different position, so this way, There we go, yeah, this way. It's actually a push to brake switch, which is really quite fascinating, and would explain why I've messed up the switching on my exoskeleton arm. That's so, yeah, and a push to brake switch button looks like so. And when you push down, it brakes, but when you push, when you release, there's actually some springs which keep this in contact. I'm doing it just on. Let me zoom out. Okay. Alright, that goes through both of those types of switches. Okay, there are these are just push to make switches. But these are the kind of switches that you'd find in most consumer board electronics. And in that, when you push the button, what happens is, I've explained this before, but it's actually really quite interesting. When you push the button, on the rubber bit, it pushes down this rubber dome, which then pushes out a contact right in here. Let me zoom in. So yeah, so right here, so it pushes out this contact right here, that black thing then touches this PCB, this track on the PCB, and that connects both of the positive and negative together, which then completes the circuit. Okay, here another push to make switch, but this is just push to make. It's got no fancy ability to do both. I can just push the top of this button and it will light up the switch. There we go. I had the LED in reverse, but I pushed this button. Other interesting kind of switches, there's a single pole, single throw switch, which is kind of like single pole, double throw switch. So it's SPSD, and it looks like so. So this is connected, and these can connect. So this can connect to either this line or this one, and it has to for it to be just so there's a kind of like that. It points up to that one, or like that, and it's connected up to this one. You can see there's 3 prongs. There's there's this prong which is in the middle, and then there's that one which is on this side, and this one which is on that side. And that is on camera. Yes. Right. Other switches that I have, they've got some more different style single pole double throw switches. Sorry, don't know what I was thinking there. But this, instead of it flicking, it just toggles just like that. So it kind of looks more like the double pole double throw switch. This is another double pole double throw switch. Sorry about that cut there. And these kind of switches are exactly the same as the ones that I showed you before. They are both push to make and push to brake switches. So this is the push to make, and as before, just reverse that, and this is push to brake now. Okay, right. The last 2 switches which I own, they are the coolest switches that I own. This is a tilt switch. They used to make them out using mercury, and I'll explain in a second. But I'm guessing you can tell by the name that the tilt switch would actually light up depending on which direction it is tilted. Interesting, I've just set it up here. You tilt the breadboard to a degree of around 80 degrees, and it will turn the LED on. If I do it this way, you guys could see. It's a bit lower because the switch isn't in the right way around, but fascinating. It works just like that. Yep. And these kind of switches you would find in vending machines. So when someone has, when someone's tampering with a vending machine and tilts it to a certain degree, the tilt switch will activate and it will go off. Which, will activate an alarm, and then the person who's vandalizing gets caught. Okay, my last but my most favourite switch is this reed switch. Okay, I'm gonna just connect it up to the breadboard, and I'm guessing you guys can't tell by the name what kind of switch, what it does, and how it's affected. But I just take my finger, cover it, nothing happens. I can cover it with light, I can tilt it, and compress it, nothing happens. But if I move my hands over it now, I just move, and same thing again, no. Okay, stop fooling around with you. It's a magnet. I pull a magnet near it, and it will light the switch. These are fascinating. They're used in all sorts of things when you want something to automatically close. In fact, my smartphone has a case on it which does this exact thing. So my case, when I close the case, this is on camera, yes, I close the case, it turns off the phone, I open the case, it will open up again, and I can prove that to you by doing this. There we go. I didn't press any buttons. I just put the magnet on top. There we go. It will turn off. You have to find the right position and everything. Actually, I believe, yes, my flip phone has two tilt switch, reed switches. One there, and one here. Here. I don't know. Can't find it, but I showed you. Yes, they're in laser cutters. Laser cutters for safety reasons when you have to have the lid closed for it to actually run. But if you know this, the safety's breached. You could put a magnet next to it and it will still work. Highly don't recommend you ever doing that. It's incredibly dangerous, but it's it can be done. Yeah, which is very fascinating. I have to show you guys how this thing works. Okay, let me get to a new page. Yeah, right. So inside of a reed switch, I might do a close up of this for you, but inside of there is, here's the reed switch, and here's the prongs coming out of it, and then you go up closer. So inside of it there are two bits of wire, magnet wire, so there's probably iron in there, magnetic wire. So iron, or yeah, it's most definitely iron. The wires coming out here are probably not there. And when you bring the magnet close enough, the magnet attracts one side, or maybe both, and they both go together and hit the wall, and they touch, because they can't go any further, they then touch. For a tilt switch, the way it works, or the way it used to work, is that inside there would be a glass, or a glass vial, similar to the reed switch, but there'd be just a glass vial where there would be contacts in the vial. There would be two contacts. One, yeah, here, let's just say there. And then there'd be a bead of mercury. This would be thousands of times smaller. A bead of mercury just in there. And when the tilt switch is on level, and well, so these are gonna come around and down there, so there'd be the prongs over there, sorry. And when the tilt switch is level, it doesn't, there's no contact. The mercury is at the bottom. This is the bottom. The mercury is at the bottom of the tube, but when it's tilted a bit more and more, all the way past 90 degrees, the bead of mercury rolls down and connects the two contacts together, and the electricity flows through the mercury and then through the switch. That concludes the different types of switches that there are. The many different types of switches that there are. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe, like, and share.